When did you finally stop apologizing for just existing? I was 17 when I walked into my guidance counselor's office. There were dark marks on my neck and a made-up story about falling down the stairs. We both knew it was a lie. Mrs. Chen had been watching me flinch every time someone raised their voice for months, but she didn't know the truth. My stepfather had started wrapping his hands around my neck whenever I talked back, and talking back could mean anything, even just breathing too loudly during his TV shows. My mother's solution? She bought me concealer and told me to learn when to shut up. But that morning, when I walked into Mrs. Chen's office, she took one look at me and said something that made my blood run cold. "I'm not letting you go home today. Your Aunt Sarah is already on her way." I panicked. I had forgotten something important. 3 years earlier, when I still believed adults might help, I had secretly listed my dad's sister as my emergency contact, Sarah. She lived 2 states away. She sent birthday cards that my mom always threw in the trash, unopened. When Sarah burst through the door, she looked exactly like my dad. Same green eyes, same stubborn jawline. I thought I was going to pass out, but then she knelt beside me, gently touched my face, and I started crying. She said, "Sweet girl, I've been waiting 17 years for this phone call." She didn't ask questions. She didn't need explanations. She just signed the papers with shaking hands and walked me to her car, while I apologized over and over for ruining her day, for being dramatic, for simply existing. She stopped, turned to me, and said, "Honey, the only thing I'm sorry about is that it took this long." The 3-hour drive to her house was mostly silent. She played my dad's old country CDs. Sometimes she'd reach over to squeeze my hand when I started to panic. When we pulled into her driveway, she said, "Here's the deal. You don't owe me gratitude. You don't owe me explanations. You don't owe me anything, except to show up for dinner and let me know if you leave the house. Everything else, we figure out together." Her house smelled like vanilla candles and old memories. She showed me to a room that had my dad's high school football jersey framed on the wall. "I've kept this room ready since the day you were born," she said. "He made me promise." Then she opened the closet. It was full of clothes in my size, still with the tags on. "I buy you something every birthday and Christmas, just in case." That's when I broke. Not the scared crying I was used to. This time, it felt like my soul was finally able to breathe. The first 2 weeks were hard. I kept waiting for the trap. I tested her constantly. I broke her favorite coffee mug and apologized so much she sat me down and said, "Sweetheart, I've got 17 years of hugs to catch up on. You think a coffee mug is going to scare me away?" Once, I stayed out past curfew on purpose. She was waiting on the porch with hot chocolate. "How was your walk?" she asked. "Next time, just text me so I don't worry myself sick." When I finally got the courage to ask why she never tried to contact me before, she went quiet. Then she pulled a storage box from under her bed. It was full. Birthday cards, Christmas gifts, graduation presents, all returned, all marked "refused" in my mother's handwriting. At the bottom was a thick folder full of legal papers. "I tried to get custody when your dad died," she said. "Your mom fought me for 2 years. It cost me everything, my savings, my sanity, but I never stopped hoping. I never stopped buying gifts, just in case." That night, I wrote her a letter and slipped it under her door. "Thank you for fighting for me when I didn't even know I needed someone to fight for me. I spent my whole life apologizing for taking up space, for needing things, for being inconvenient. But she taught me something I never knew. I was never too much. I was just with the wrong people. And for the first time in my life, I'm not sorry for being alive."